Welcome to channel Qtomation. In previous sessions, we have started with Playwright installation. We have also seen high level architecture of Playwright. We have then also seen overall folder structure of Playwright after installation, and we have also executed some of the sample cases provided by default by Playwright. In today's session, we will see how to create and run the first test case. So let's try to create and run a first test case. So we will do one sample or simple test case of opening google.com, and after opening the google.com, I want to verify the page title. So let's say once you visit google.com, so we are going to launch the browser and we are going to open the google.com and we are going to compare the title of google.com. So if you want to see the title, you can simply press Ctrl U. It will show you page source, and then you can simply search for title. If you see, the title is Google only. So we should verify whether the page title is Google or not. So that is the simple test case which we are going to create today in our Playwright. So before that, so this is our project folder which we have created in our last session. So after installation, this is the project structure. In this project, as we have seen, inside tests folder, we have to create a new test case. So they have provided some sample test cases, spec.js file, but we are going to create our new test case. So they have already couple of test cases present in test folder. So what we are going to do, we are going to create a new test file. So I'm just closing this one. So let's create a new spec file. So as we are using JavaScript language in our Playwright, we are going to create test case file with extension of .spec.js. So I'm going to create a new file. Let's name it as verify underscore homepage and homepage title. So that is the name. We can give any name, verify underscore homepage underscore title, but most important is the extension. So extension should be .spec.js. That's it. So we have created one spec.js file inside test folder. After creating this, what is the next step now? So first step is we have to use one keyword, that is require, to import. If you see this node modules, inside this node modules there is Playwright, and inside this Playwright there are test and expect module which we need. So two functions which we need in our test cases, test and expect module from Playwright /test. From this module, there are multiple modules which are present in node underscore module folder. But out of those, we are interested in test and expect functions. So I am going to import those. So how to import those is, first I am just going to put require in this. This is the syntax. So I am going to require @playwright /test. So from this I want to use two things, that is in curly bracket we have to put test function, and along with test I need expect one as well. So test is basically for test cases, whereas expect is used for providing assertions, validations. So expect is used for validations and test is required for writing the test cases. So I'm going to name it as constants. These are the constants. You can define as variable or let by using var or let keyword also, it's fine. But I'm just going to defining as constant test comma expect equals to require playwright hyphen playwright slash test. So in this line, what we are going to do is, first we can create test in test folder. So whatever test cases we are writing, we have to create those .spec.js file in test folder. In this test file, to import specific functions like test and expect from the playwright test module. So from @playwright test module, we are going to import test and expect functions. That's why we have to write this line, that is constant test comma expect inside the curly bracket equals to require inside brackets @playwright slash test. So test is a function provided by the Playwright test framework to define test cases. So we can define the test cases, that's why we need this test module or test function. And expect is a function used for assertions, that is validating the test results. It will check if the actual output matches with the expected result. So that's why we need this expect as well. So this is the first line which we have to write. After this line, what we have to do is, once you use this line, next we have to define a test block. So syntax to define test block is like this. So we have to provide test block. In this test block, first parameter we have to pass, that is title of our test case. If you see, it is showing you title and body. Along with title, I am going to pass one anonymous function as well. So first let's pass title. So I am just going to pass the title like test homepage title of google.com. So that is the test case title. After providing this test case title inside this test block, next step is we have to provide one anonymous function by using two brackets and function body. So this is our test block. If you see, we have defined test block. First parameter is title, then one anonymous function inside the test block. Inside these anonymous functions, we have to pass in curly bracket one fixture, that is page fixture. What is this page fixture, that I will just explain in some time. So just understand the syntax first. So after passing this page fixture or let's say page object, this is basically a page fixture which is present in Playwright. We can use this for multiple operations. So whatever operations, for example, so I will just explain you what is exactly page. So let me show you. So page is a object, or we can say a fixture provided by Playwright that represents a single browser tab or window. And using this page fixture, it allows you to perform actions on the browser such as navigating to URL, fetching elements from the DOM, interacting with elements, capturing information like title or screenshots. So all these operations which we are going to do, we can do it by using page fixture. So if you want to navigate to some URL, if you want to interact with some elements, we have to use this page fixture. So you can think like page as the interface to control a browser tab programmatically. So whatever actions we are doing on the browser, that we can do via page fixture, or we can say page object. By using this page, we can actually perform different operations. For example, if I want to open some URL, so I will just have to use page dot go to, and in this go to function we have to provide the URL. So I want to open google.com, www.google.com. So this will launch google.com on the browser. Now there is one more important thing. Just before this anonymous function, we have to use one keyword, that is async keyword. Now what is this async keyword? Async means asynchronous. JavaScript is asynchronous programming language. So what is asynchronous programming language is, so let's say whenever we write a test code, let's say we are writing the test code, let's say line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4. So in any programming language, let's say we are writing a test code line by line. But when the test code executes, if the language is asynchronous, so JavaScript is asynchronous programming language. So not necessarily it will go sequence wise. Asynchronous means all the lines can work in parallel execution as well. So it will not wait until the last line completes. So even sometimes happens that before line 2 test execution completes, even line 3 will start. Not necessarily every time it will wait for line 2 to complete and the line 3 to start. It can work in parallel way, asynchronously. So JavaScript is mainly asynchronous programming language. But in test automation, so whenever we are writing a test cases in test automation, it is very important that it should go sequence wise. So in test automation, every line is depending on our previous line. So if some line gets executed even before the previous step is complete, then it might create some problems. So that's why in JavaScript, while writing the test automation in Playwright, we need to handle one JavaScript promise. So for that purpose, we have to add async before this anonymous function. Before using this page, before this function, we have to use async keyword. And along this with async keyword, whenever we are going to use this page fixture, in whatever statement we are going to use this page fixture, we have to use one keyword that is await. So we have to use one keyword that is await. In every step, wherever we are using this page to interact with browser elements, to open the browser, or any other operation which we are using by using this page fixture, we have to use await keyword before that. Now, what exactly is await? Why do we use async and await? What is the need of this async and await? So as I said earlier, JavaScript is asynchronous programming language. But in test automation, each step should be performed after the previous step, else it might create problems. So JavaScript is asynchronous programming language. So sometimes test cases will not be executed in sequential manner. If you write the code in JavaScript, there can be some asynchronous operation which is performed in the background, and parallelly it will execute another steps as well. So that is the asynchronous programming language. But in test automation, each step should be performed after previous step, else it might create problems. So simple example would be, let's say whenever the page loads, sometimes some element might take some time to appear on that web page. But if it is asynchronous, and if you are going to execute the next line even before executing the previous line where we are actually locating that element, the next line will fail because it will not find that element. If page is not loaded, if that element is not visible, and if you are going to jump on the next line to execute, it will fail that test case because of asynchronous problem. That's why in test automation, every step should be performed after the previous step, else it might create problems. To handle this situation, we have to handle something called as JavaScript promise. So whenever we are going to use async keyword before that function, it will make that function to return the promise, and await keyword used to make function wait till the page is completely loaded or that promise is completed. So when we are using this async keyword before this function, it will make sure that this function is returning promise, and when we are using await keyword, it is make sure that until and unless this operation is completed, it will not go to next step. So async is making sure that function is returning promise, and await keyword before this page is making sure that until and unless this operation is completed, in this case the loading of this page, it will wait for that step to complete. Then only it will move to next step. So basically we should always use async keyword before anonymous function in our test block. So that's why whenever you are creating the test case, we have to write this async keyword every time before this page. Before this function, we have to use this async keyword. We should use await keyword as well. So when you are using async keyword before that anonymous function in the test block, we should use await keyword whenever we are using page fixture to perform any action. So that's why there can be 10 number of steps where we are using page for navigating to different browser, different URL, interacting with web elements. Whenever we are using page, we have to use await keyword. We have to always use this await keyword. The async keyword marks a function as asynchronous, meaning it will return a promise. It will make sure that that asynchronous function is returning some promise. And any function using await must be marked as async. This is because await can only be used inside async function. And whenever we are using await, JavaScript will pauses an execution of the function until that promise is resolved. So until and unless the previous step promise is resolved, it will not move to next step. That is the main benefit of using await. This is helpful because it ensures that the task finishes before you try to use its result. Async and await makes the easier to read and understand by letting you write asynchronous code as if it were synchronous code. So it would make execution in good manner that it is as same as synchronous. Especially in test automation, we need that kind of a execution steps. So async and await keyword we have to always use in our test cases. So it will make the code execution easier to read and understand by letting you write asynchronous code as if it were synchronous. So that is the main use of async and await keyword. So we have also seen what is page. We have also seen why to use async and await. Now let's move ahead. So after using await, we are opening this web page. And after opening this web page, what is the next step now? It will launch the browser, it will open www.google.com. Then we are going to create one variable, let's say page title. So we need to capture the page title. So for that, what we can do, we can use, again, I am using page.title function. It will capture the title of the page, and that we are storing in page title constant. And again, as we are using page here, I have to use await page.title function. It will capture the title and it will store in page title constant. And then we have to put some validation. So as I said earlier, test is used to create a test case function, and expect is used to validate whether expected output and actual output is correct or not. So I can simply use expect. Inside this expect function, I have to pass page title which we are capturing, and then we can use to be method. So this method will compare that the captured page title has to be Google. So currently we have seen the page title is Google, and if you want to print that, we can simply use console.log page title. So it will print. It is not mandatory, I am just typing just to verify what is the page title which is we are capturing. So it will print the page title on our console as well. And here we are validating whether page title which we have captured is equals to Google or not. If it is matching, then test case will pass. If it is not matching, test case will fail. And then we can close page dot close method to close the page. These are the steps basically which will verify, which will launch the browser. After launching this browser, we are capturing the title of the page. We are storing that page title in this page title constant. Then we are validating here whether that page title is Google or not. If it is Google, test case will pass. If it is not, it will fail. Now we have to save this test case, and now we can execute this test case. What is the command to execute the test case? npx playwright test. So npx playwright test command will execute all the test cases present in test folder in headless mode. So if I execute this command now, by default what it will do? It will open all the test cases which are in test folder. It will execute all those test cases parallelly in headless mode. By default it will execute all those test cases in headless mode. If you see, it is running 9 tests using 4 workers. So previously there are 2 test cases which are present in test folder. So 2 test cases and plus 1 which we have added just now, the total 3 test cases which will be displayed, which will be executed on total 3 browsers. So 3 into 3, 9 test cases which are being run on headless mode. So we will see the output summary as well. If you see, this is the console.log which we have used in our test case. It is printing Google. That means page title is Google only. It is currently executing the test cases in headless mode. If you see, all the 9 test cases are passed. All the 9 test cases are passed. If you want to see the report, we can use npx playwright show report. It will open the report in browser. But now I don't want to execute all the test cases currently. I just want to execute this test case only. So what is the command for that? npx, and I want to execute in headed mode. I want to see the UI of browser as well. So I can simply use the command like this: npx playwright. I want to execute which test? Test folder. Inside this test folder, what is the name of the test case file, spec file? Verify home page underscore title. So this is the test case. So it will just execute only this test case. If I execute this command, it will execute only this test case in headless mode on 3 browsers. But I want to see it on actual browser UI. So I will just use -- headed mode. So it will execute this test case in 3 browsers on headed mode. So let's execute this. So it should launch all the 3 browsers and 3 test cases will be executed, because same one test case is going to be executed on 3 browsers. There is some error. Let's see. Unknown command it is saying. So let me just execute one more time. npx playwright test. Let's provide test, not test, but verify home page title. Yeah, so now it is correctly executing. So command is npx playwright test. After that we have to mention the spec name, right? So npx playwright test. After that, if I want to execute the specific spec file, we have to just mention that name of spec file. So it is launching. If you see, all the three cases got passed in headless mode currently. So same command I can use, but this time I will use headed mode. So now it will launch in browser. So same test case will be executed on 3 browsers. So let's see the output. It is launching the browser. If you see, it is launching the browser. It will open the google.com. It will verify the title and the page will be closed. So first is closed. Second browser. On second browser also it will verify the title. It is closed. And on third browser also it is closed. So on Chromium, Firefox and WebKit, at all the 3 browsers the test case got executed and all the 3 cases are passed now. Now if you want to see whether test case fails or not, what we can do? So what I will do, instead of Google, I will just put some incorrect random word. So let's say I'm just putting ABCD. So obviously it will fail the test case because we are capturing the page title which is Google, but we are comparing with ABCG. But let's see what happens. It will fail the test case. So let's execute it on headed mode. We are executing the specific spec file only. So it is launching the first browser. Okay, so if you see now, all the 3 test cases are failed now. And it is also showing you the test report. So now if you see the test report, it is showing you, this is the test case title. If you expand it, it is also showing you why it is failed. It is showing you error, expect received to be. So this is the line where equality is missing. So expected ABCG, which we have changed. So we are expecting that this will be the title. But what we have actually received, Google. So both are mismatch. That's why the test case got failed. So this is how we can see the report as well. So in the report also it is showing you why the test case got failed. So what I will do now, again I will make it as Google only. Let's save this file. Now I am just quitting from the report. So now what I will do, so far we have executed on all the 3 browsers. But let's say now I want to execute this test case only one time on single browser only, Chromium browser. Then what is the command? The command is npx playwright test spec name, headed means on UI will be displayed, and I want to execute only on Chromium browser. So I will just use ---- project equals to Chromium. So now if I execute this command, it will execute the test case only once on Chromium browser. So now it will launch the Chromium. If you see, now it is running one test using one worker only. And now test case is passed. If you want to see the report, you can simply use this command. It will again open report in your browser. So this is a basic flow of creation of test case and executing the test case. So what we have seen, this is the first line which we have used. Let's revise one more time. So by default, whenever we are creating the test cases, we have to create those in test folder. Extension should be .spec.js. First line we have to use to import the specific function test and expect. Test is a function provided by the Playwright test framework to define the test cases. and expect is used for validations. And we are importing this from @playwright/test module. So from this module we are importing these two functions which we are going to use in our test script. So we have to create a test block. We have to provide a title of the test case. Then we have created anonymous function in which we have passed page fixture, and we have to make this function as async by using async keyword. And inside these steps we have opened a google.com. Then we have stored the page.title inside this constant. Then we are expect is for validation, to compare the result by using to-be method. So basically test block is provided by Playwright. So in this first line, the test name which we have provided, async keyword is used because we will perform asynchronous operation like page.goto and page.title. The page argument is provided by Playwright to interact with browser page. Then we are waiting. This navigates to google.com homepage, and await keyword ensures that the test wait for the page to load completely before proceeding to next step. Then we have captured title and stored in constant, and then we have used the validation whether our actual and expected are matching or not. And what is page? Page is basically a fixture provided by Playwright that represents a single tab, and whatever operation which we are going to do, for example navigating to URL, interacting with web elements, clicking, typing, all those are supported by page fixture. And why do we have to use async and await? So since JavaScript is async programming language, but in test automation steps it is very important that after every step completion only next step should be executed. So to handle this situation we have to handle JavaScript promise. So async keyword makes function to return the promise, and await keyword used to make function wait till the page is completely loaded. So for every step wherever we are using the page, we have to use await keyword. So we should always use async keyword before anonymous function in our test block, and we should always use await keyword whenever using page fixture to perform any action. So it is helpful because it ensures that the step will finishes before you try to go to next step. So thanks for watching this video. In coming video